Until recently, the tanker Veronica sailed under the flag of Guyana. Last week, it suddenly changed its name to Galileo and its flag to Russian. Theoretically, its home port is Taganrog on the Sea of Azov. This is the sixth vessel seized by the United States in recent weeks in the Caribbean that was transporting Venezuelan oil or had done so in the past. This seizure supports the proclamation of the President of the United States, targeting sanctioned vessels that threaten the security and stability of the Western Hemisphere. The operation was executed by Department of Homeland Security components with support from the Department of War, showcasing a whole-of-government approach to protect the homeland. Earlier, commentators and experts warned that U.S. attacks on the Shadow Fleet could result in a serious response from Russia.
The Shadow Fleet and the boarding of the Marinera tanker, previously known Venezuelan, after it obtained the Russian flag, is a telling example. Certainly a move bound to raise tensions with Russia and risks escalation. But the Trump administration likely found that stepping back would show weakness, and hence whether actions against Russia flagged or even Chinese flagged vessels will continue.
Meanwhile, there has been no significant reaction other than protests and requests for the release of the crew, which is evidence of the Kremlin's growing caution and perhaps even weakness. Let us recall that Russia has been using the so-called Shadow Fleet for years to transport sanctioned goods, in particular oil, under the flags of other countries to avoid controls.
Russia has traditionally enjoyed the anonymity and opacity of very obscure ownership structures and flagging practices all around the world to sever its direct connection, at least seemingly, between itself and the Shadow Fleet that engages in a number of deceptive shipping practices.
The tanker Marinero, registered as a Russian vessel, was seized in the North Atlantic last week. The U.S. action was supported by the Royal Navy of Great Britain.
The UK, at the request of the US, supported this operation as part of global efforts to crack down on sanctions busting and shadow shipping activity. This is a sanctioned, stateless vessel which carries a long history of nefarious activity and shares close links with both Iran and Russia.
Earlier, the Americans seized the tanker Olina, which, according to a public database, was falsely flying the flag of East Timor.
Seizing tankers is a very costly measure. Of course, these military operations have their own costs. And then there's a very significant question that has to be answered, which is what will happen to the tanker? How long will the seizing authority be willing to keep this tanker at port? Will it pay for the maintenance? What will happen to the crew and the cargo? These are questions that have traditionally deterred coastal states from taking such actions. The U.S. is really reshaping the playing field in this regard.
After the capture and trial of Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro, the United States has further tightened its blockade of sanctioned ships sailing to and from the South American country.